5 anglers head for the boat ramp before the sun is up, having survived 3 grueling days of qualification. One of them is David Fritts, already a 3-time winner on the FLW Tour, and a man who showed out big time yesterday.
Come on, Mike, come on. Please, please, I've lost enough today.
Was he under the boat?
Some giant fish right here, either.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
He's
Oh, my
barely
God.
hooked, too. Okay.
We'll get him. We'll get him.
You're the best.
I'm not gonna get
I knew I could catch some fish if everybody get out of my way.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean that.
What a treat having this man in our finals today, and we're wondering if this spot he's fishing and the technique he's using will hold out for just one more day, like it did before the field was cut.
I'll catch me 5 like that before the day's over, I hope.
3-time winner out here on the Walmart FLW Tour. There's 4. And he has a limit. Ooh. Oh. Out. Very nice.
But that was yesterday, and everything is even now, which makes things very exciting, particularly Kim Stricker, who's making his first Final 5 here under the pressure of a heavy heart. What a day he had on Friday.
Oh, shit. He's coming. This trip, ready? Yeah. This trip. Yes, sir. I've caught
Every day, this spot has yielded
good fish.
a giant.
I gotta thank my dad too.
Yeah.
My dad passed away last week, and he's been fishing with me this whole trip. He'd be proud. Yes. There, Rebecca. Good job.
3 fish so far for Kim. He's looking for 14.8. Shaping up a little bit there. Puts him a little over 10 pounds, Paul. A little over 10. So this has got to be a good one. This has got to be a good one. Whoa, no. Paul says that's enough. No, wait a minute. Let's see. Let's make it official, Paul. 5 fish, 16 pounds, 3 ounces. Thank you, Paul. Big hand for Kim Stricker.
16 pounds sent Paul Elias packing, and hey, what's the chances of 2 fishermen from Michigan being in this launching parade here? Well, pretty slim, unless Kevin Van Dam is in the mix. Kevin, come on down. Your catch yesterday bought you a ticket for today.
That's the one we need right there. And he's got it locked in his face. I like it when the triple grits lock him in the head. Yeah, baby. There you go, Ken. That's what we need right there. That's a good fish right there.
He's at 3 fish now, Tommy, and we are in the 6-pound range. So he's got to have
to keep going.
about 8 pounds. And there we go. All right. 2 good ones.
Those
looking for
2 right there.
14-10. We'll make the difference. 2 fish there gives him a total of 5, 18 pounds, 4 ounces. How about that? He is in. David, everybody give a big hand to David Walker. Great job, David.
3 out of the 5 spots are filled, with another going to Missouri's Kelly Williamson, qualifier at his very first FLW event.
I think he is
Looking
on to
good
something.
right
He's
now.
shaping up.
He got
He's
2
shaping
more
up.
like that.
We may see him fishing tomorrow for 100. Wow. My word. Wow. That's all you need. That's That's enough.
Hey,
Only 4.
Good enough. We're impressed. 20 pounds, 3 ounces for Kelly Williamson. Launch those boats, fellas. We're about ready to start, or at least we will be when we find out how Mark Harden secured the 5th and final spot.
And he's reaching for his limit fish.
Wow.
My goodness. Right here. Right there. Right. Yeah, let's see. Show these people back here. That's what the people came to see. Right there. Whoa. What a beautiful fish. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Man, oh man. 5 fish in his bag. Total weight here, 24 pounds, 15 ounces.
Biggest stringer of the tournament so far for Mark. Let's hear it. Mark Harden.
170 professional bass fishermen are headed home this morning, and 5 who've already accomplished a lot are hoping for the day of their life.
You know, it's times like this that you're a little tense. Your adrenaline is flowing, I can tell you that. It's and I usually stay like this so I catch one. I hope it ain't 11 o'clock today, because I don't know if I can stay like this till 11 o'clock. It's still a lot of fun and very exciting, man.
Emotions are high for everyone, but in about 10 seconds, all 5 anglers will enter a world where only themselves, a cameraman, their ability to find and catch largemouth bass matters.
It's time to get serious.
Hi and welcome. I'm Tommy Sanders along with Jerry McInnes, and we invite you to join us for our first Final 5 of the FLW Tour season. We're down here in Florida, Clewiston on Lake Okeechobee, down in a part of Florida that's normally pretty warm any time of year. Today it's a bit chilly.
Yeah, a little chilly, and man, it's great to get the season started again, isn't it? Boy, and the buzz around here right now, well, 2 things. One, the incredible fish they brought in yesterday. Man, can they do that again? I hope so. And the other thing, of course, is the low water. Man, you might be wondering, why are these 2 guys doing an opening out here in the desert? Well, if we can have a little pullback here, you realize that we're not standing in the desert. We're standing in a place that's normally 4 or 5 feet deep, making it a little bit difficult, sometimes even dangerous for our fishermen. Hasn't stopped the fish from biting, but they just have to do a little more work for them.
They have to deal with it. The water would be up to our necks here. What's happened, basically, is a drought. That's reason number 1. There's been a drought in Florida for 4 or 5 years. Additionally, the Corps of Engineers, who normally kind of control the water level here in the lake, dropped it a bit more, about a foot more, over the past year in anticipation of a heavy hurricane and rainy season. Well, the hurricanes never came, the rainy season never materialized, and drought has continued. It's just a cycle of nature.
But I told you it didn't hurt the fish.
No, it did not.
Doesn't seem to be anyway. You know, we've got 5 guys, as always, that have made it this far. They survived a field of 175. It changed fishing up. These 5 guys figured out what that change was.
Well, what these fish are doing right here, they're staged. I believe what they're doing, they're staged up. There's a drop right here, and it drops from about 3 foot down to about 15. There's a hole right out here in the middle. And it's real deep water. It's about 25, 30 foot right out in the middle right there. And these fish, I think, when it gets real cold weather, that deeper water and it's a little bit warmer. And there's one right there.
Mark Harden was trying to explain what was happening, but he never finished.
Man, Mark got right with it, didn't he? Hey, we're going to be talking a lot about crankbaits today, Tommy, both lipless crankbaits and crankbaits with a bill. Mark right here is using one with a bill. He's probably fishing 8 or 9 feet of water, but we'll explore their different techniques.
Yes, sir. Great way to get started. Well, that was a good feeling rock right there.
Lake Okeechobee normally has fish everywhere, but on today you better find a channel or a ditch or some kind of a cut. Let's give Mark Harden another chance to tell us.
The lake's real low right now, and that's helped bring these fish to this area. It makes that water real cool out there, and they can come and stack up right here on these little points and stage up and get ready. When it warms back up, they'll shoot right back out there and go to spawning.
catching them before you can even see them. The fog hasn't even lifted, and Mark Harden's on his way here.
Mark is fishing actually for suspended fish. You know, you wouldn't think that these guys fishing on Okeechobee, Tommy, would be fishing for suspended fish, but they are, except when you get over there on the bank with, say, Kelly Williamson, who is actually going right down in front of the cover there, throwing a real shallow running crankbait. Matter of fact, I think he's throwing a wiggle wart. He's probably catching his fish in 2 or 3 feet of water. Mark Harden is out there catching them in 8 or 10 feet of water. But Mark is really paying a lot of attention, making sure he is close to shallow
haven't had
water.
one this early yet.
Kelly Williamson in his very first Walmart FLW Tour event. Talk about some success early.
And Tommy, he was scared to death this morning when he got started.
Was he?
Oh, my goodness, he was scared. Mark Harden caught 24 pounds of fish yesterday. Can you believe that?
Unbelievable.
And you know what? You'd think, well, there won't be any more left in these places. But that's not how it is. These are all spots that are replenishing themselves every single day with a new batch of fish. They're really moving a lot.
Come on, give me a good rattle trap fish early here. They just got to get in the mood. Something triggers them, something turns them on, and they'll bite for a bit. And something triggers them. My crankbait's triggering them, and it bumps a rock or whatever. I don't think much of that's a feeding activity. I'd love to see them feed in here. That's what we need them to do. Turn on one time and go crazy.
I guess what I'm hunting. My buddy said throw a wiggle wart, and it'd work. And he's foul hooked. I don't know if he'll make it. They fight a lot harder when they're hooked in the top of the head. That's what's been happening. They've just been coming up and butting the bottom of it.
While we have a little break here, let's find out what the pros think about the weather and specifically the barometer.
Barometric pressure is, you got me.
You gotta be kidding. Barometric pressure. It's something I watch on the news and the weather at night and never understand it.
I know what it is, but I don't know how to.
As we look at the boat channel leading out of Clewiston, we remind you that this view is normally all water. It really changes when you drop the level out 5 feet.
Yeah, and Kevin Van Dam is actually fishing the edge of that channel. He is right in view of the marina for the most part. The marina is back in here. Here's the rim canal, and I want you to pay close attention to the edge of that channel. It is so important for his fishing. Now, most of our fish have been in shallow water trying to spawn, but the cold fronts have brought them out of these shallow spots and positioned them on that channel, and Kevin's boat is right on this edge at all times.
There's one. Oh, good one, too. That's a good one right there. That's a good one right there.
Tommy, you can see Clewiston, the marina, and the rim canal back in the distance. Kevin certainly isn't trying to hide from anyone.
I haven't seen him yet, but that's the kind I know, right? Unless he's foul hooked or something. Oh, he's a good one. Yes. What there is this channel runs down through here, and it's about 6 foot deep, 7 foot deep in the middle. And when they dug it along the edges, there's places where it's a little flatter, where apparently it was, it's just hard to dig through all the rocks. And there'll be a a 3 or 4 foot shelf with some big rocks on it, and that's what those fish are just keying on. And those key little areas are, you know, what I try to concentrate on. But these fish are moving up and down this whole edge, and you're liable to catch one anywhere. But throughout the whole tournament, I've caught most all my big ones within several hundred yards of where we're sitting right now on both sides of the channel. So.
Well, it seems you can't have a crankbait tournament without this guy right here, David Fritts.
David Fritts has got to be there, and he is actually fishing with a crankbait with a bill on it. Kevin Van Dam is using a lipless crankbait.
Yes. Well, here we go again. Watch this, folks. Nobody lands a fish quite like David Fritts.
He has a routine, doesn't he? He always tells us how big it is. He pleads with the fish for a little bit. He gets on his knees and he says, "Oh, if I could only land this one." You'd think it was the first one that he ever caught, and Tommy, maybe the last one
He'll ever have a crack at.
Well, he ain't big, but he's a start. He's better than I've been doing early. All right.
Well, that was a little smaller than expected from Fritz, but that's a start. Jerry, how about describing his spot for us?
Okay, Dave is probably about 3 miles down the rim canal at marker number 98. Here you can see the rim canal, and he's fishing behind it in probably what amounts to a dynamite hole. Now, here's the shallow water. Here is the hole again, and Fritz is fishing not on the edge like Van Dam, but in the area of the edge where the fish are suspending. Now, here's the deal, Tommy. Kim Stricker is right down there with him.
Fish, 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 fish. Good fish. Good. This is a good one. This is a good one. Well, I don't know how good, but he's better than I got. Easy, easy, easy. Might just start turning out there. Just might be starting to turn out. One fish at a time.
Barometric pressure basically is how the atmosphere presses down on the earth.
High pressure, fish don't bite. Low pressure, they bite better.
You know, generally low pressure is stormy weather and cloudy and rainy, and generally fish bite better in that weather.
Usually when the barometer's on the high rise, fishing's pretty tough.
The first stop of the year on the Walmart FLW Tour. We're on Lake Okeechobee down here in Clewiston, Florida, and it might seem a little early to be taking a peep at the scoreboard, but hey, the fish are going in the boats early, and Mark Harden has that slim lead, as you can see there. We're about to talk, though, with Kim Stricker. And Kim, it seems like you pretty much have everything under control this week.
It's another day on the water for me. I'm not overly excited. I'm just confident. I'm going to working carefully.
What would it take to get you overly excited?
What's it take to get me overly excited?
Yeah.
When I stick me a couple 8-pounders.
Yeah, us too. That would make us excited as well.
Hey,
24 pounds would get me going.
Yeah, me too.
Man, you have pretty well homesteaded that little area, haven't you?
Yeah, back and forth, back and forth. And, you know, just periodically you'll get a fish. The fish usually start biting from now till about 2 o'clock or so.
Do you think, Kim, that these are fish that are moving in and maybe moving out, and so fishing back and forth doesn't really make any difference because you may be hitting a new fish your next pass?
That's exactly right. I don't know if these fish are moving in or moving out. I imagine they moved in here when it was so cold, but starting to get nice out now, they may start moving out. It might be a good thing the tournament's over today.
Well, would you ever give a thought at any time today leaving that spot? Are you there for the duration?
I'm here for the duration. I'm really confident I'll get a couple good bites before the day's over.
All right, Kim, I know it's been kind of a tough month for you already, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. Last week when I was practicing, my father died. And So he's kind of fishing with me right now, and
Oh, that's great.
I'm hoping that he can help me out maybe.
Yeah. Well, you know, Kim, I was going to mention the same thing to you because our hearts go out to you around here, and we really, really admire you. Has it been kind of inspiring to you?
Yes, it has. I mean, Dad obviously taught me how to fish and got me involved in fishing as a kid. All my fondest childhood memories are with him fishing. When I was a young kid, a young teenager, when I would come in the house with a big bass, Dad would give you a lot of praise. I mean, that was a big thing. That's all part of this, and it's good, clean, healthy fun.
There's fish, good fish. Please stay on here, baby. This is a good one here. Don't you jump. Oh, this is a good one. You talking about adrenaline rush. If I can get this one. I know I'm probably breathing hard, folks. But if you had a good fish like this, you'd probably be breathing hard. Come on, don't. Jesus. Lay. I don't know how my line is staying together as hard as he's pulling. He's wanting to come up. Folks, if you... Oh, gosh. This is a giant. Please get in this net. Yeah. That's the one I needed. Thank you, Lord. Look at this fish. That's what you call smack, crackle, and I popped him. Buddy, that's what fishing is all about right there. You work hard to find fish, and then you get out here and you work your butt off to catch them, and it happens. Whew. Thank you. Oh, man. I got to retie my line so I can set it down. It's going to take a 20-pound bag today without, a doubt. Mark was real fortunate yesterday and had a really, exceptional. There's one. A good fish, too. Barely hooked, too. I seen it had just one hook in it. Please, 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 please. Try to lead him around opposite way and got another hook in him. Yes. I always try to pull him back the opposite way when I see he just had one hook in the tip of his mouth when I seen him come up out there. Can you cut my line for me? That's how easy it breaks.
Kevin Van Dam, this is the second ever FLW Tour event for him. The first time he entered one of these was up at Lake St. Clair in his home state of Michigan, the Forestwood Open, back in 1999. Almost won that thing, came in second place, and here he is again contending at Okeechobee.
I hit a rock right there, right at the boat, and popped it off, and he jumped on it. Snagged that one. I've been missing a lot of them doing that. They're just not taking the bait real good. But every now and then, if you got the right hooks on there, it'll reach out there and snatch them.
It's just a little shelf that comes out, and it's got rocks on the edge. And same kind of, same kind of pattern I've been fishing. There's a good fish, too. Please don't let it be another 7-pound. I can't take it. Oh, Lordy. All right. When I call that one, I'll be in business.
Two different techniques. Van Dam is bumping the edge of the drop-off to trigger strikes, and Fritts is pulling his crankbait away from the drop-offs, fishing for suspended fish, probably 8 or 10 feet of water.
Good fish, too. Oh, yeah. He's not a great big one, but he'll measure.
Well, their methods may differ, but Van Dam, Fritts, both starting to pull away from this crew, and both of them had trouble in the early part of this event with so many other boats around, but today they've got it all to themselves.
Boy, they do have it to themselves, and this aerial right here will give you a real good idea of that channel. There, it really sticks out like a sore thumb, doesn't it, Tommy? And this water is probably 2 feet deep, and you can see the channel is probably around 6 foot deep.
Kevin, as you told us earlier in the show today, you want that crankbait to be constantly making contact with the bottom.
Well, it's real key. You don't get a single bite out here that your bait isn't bouncing off one of those rocks or ripping it out of the grass. It's real important. These fish aren't real aggressive and they don't want to eat, but that bait ricocheting off the cover or ripping up in front of them and fluttering down is what's triggering them into biting. They're just reacting to it, and that's why I'm missing a lot of fish. I just lost one about 5 minutes ago. That same deal. I threw it up there a little bit too shallow and kind of ripped it out of the grass there, and he thumped it, and I reeled him about 2 turns, and he came off. And that's just the nature of the type of fishing I'm doing.
Well, Kevin Van Dam has been in contention on the final day of a tournament more times than any of us could probably count. But Kevin, since you've done that mostly on other tournament trails, talk a little bit about this format when we go back to 0 on the last day and how that changes the way you look at things, or does it change things at all?
It is. There's a lot more strategy involved in fishing an FLW event than any of the other tournaments that I've fished, because you start over 2 different times, and the final day, I mean, it doesn't, that 25-pound stringer that Mark Harden had yesterday doesn't mean anything today. It's we're all even, and we all know that we need to catch a good stringer, but you just never know.
So you don't think about, I mean, if I was fishing on the final day and I'd seen all those huge fish like from Mark and Kelly I couldn't get them out of my mind. Are you pretty successful at putting stuff like that out of your mind?
Yeah, you can't fish against the other fishermen. You're fishing against the fish, and you just got to do the best that you can to figure out the fish in the area you're at. And it's each day it's been a struggle, and I've still got time to do well. I'm having an okay day, but just 1 or 2 bites could make it a great day.
Dang, it ain't even 8:30 yet. I love it. We've even got 4 in the box. Man, that's a good thing.
Lake Okeechobee in South Florida, event number 1 here for the Walmart FLW Tour. Mark Harden, as you can see, is within striking distance of David Fritts and Kevin Van Dam. He's only got 1 more fish to get the job done with. Van Dam certainly has a larger average fish and 2 more to go for his limit.
You tell I'm a little more intense today?
Yep.
I'm out for it, that's why. Fish. Oh, no, he just got off.
Oh.
Just lost one.
Kim Stricker is not a man in a position to be losing fish right now. Let's take a quick look at his spot, Jerry.
Well, it's the same place that Fritts is fishing. It's this hole right back here off of the rim canal. Fritts is fishing in the back end of it. Kim is out actually fishing in the rim canal and the beginning of that hole.
Kim's got a fish on right now. Do you have any thoughts as to why it's not happening for Kim Stricker, where he's fishing today?
Well, you know what? These guys, especially these guys fishing the edges and fishing for those suspended fish right off the edge, are after fish, they're probably moving up and down that drop-off there. And it's one of those, you need to be in the right place at the right time. But I think it's important that both Fritts and Kim have stuck it out. You know, they don't give up and run off to another hole. They've stayed right in those places, and eventually the fish come to them. They just keep doing the right thing in the right place.
That's going to be a good keeper for Kim Stricker. He needs it at this point. You know, when they talk about Fritts, everyone praises his ability to find a way to position that boat to make the proper presentation to these fish, and obviously that's what he's got going today.
And again, he's being patient. Off. Same thing with Kevin Van Dam. He never gets his boat away from that drop-off. Hey, and something else that we don't talk about enough is their rods. They are fishing with 6.5 and 7 foot rods with soft tips that when a fish hits their bait and they set the hook, they won't jerk the bait away from the fish, and yet they have a very good feel. Tommy, it is so important that these guys feel what's going on. Kevin has to feel that bait hitting the rock, and believe it or not, Fritts has to feel nothing, you know? He has to pull it off those drop-offs and have it swim out there and know that he's in the area where those fish are suspending.
He thumped it too. I like that. This is where it's happening at.
Jerry, do you know how you can tell David Fritts is having a good day?
How's that?
He's got carpet burns on his knees.
That's right. That's the first place he goes is drops down there and gets his rod tip in the water and starts landing his fish. It's a real ordeal to see him catch a fish.
It takes a while, but it's entertaining.
He feels like a good fish. He is a good fish. Stay hooked up, baby. Just stay hooked up. He didn't fight till we got to the boat.
You know what? We've never done this on a Walmart FLW Tour event before, but being that it's David Fritts, we're going to have a chance to break away for a commercial, come back in time to see him land this fish.
Ain't nothing you can do except hold him. Oh, he is a big one. Oh, he is a big one. Get in there. All right. Raw. Me and Tony's doing it. Golly, I have got a limit.
David Fritts is doing it, putting himself in a position to win this tournament on Okeechobee today. You know, we've heard a few confusing, maybe even conflicting words from our fishing pros today concerning the barometer. Now let's get the real info from a real weather pro.
Pressure, of course, is the weight of the atmosphere around us, basically. There are areas where the pressure is higher than others, and of course, you see that on the weatherman's map with the big blue H, the high pressure center, and the red L's meaning low pressure. And it's the difference between those two pressures which causes wind. An analogy I use is when you open a can of coffee. That sound you hear, that is the sound of air rushing in from the outside high pressure into the low pressure. That's the actual sound. And on a windy day, that's basically what's happening. It's air pressure high pressures filling in the area of low pressure with wind.
That's effect on the water is really minimal because the density of water is a lot bigger than air. And in order to achieve an inch of mercury change underwater 10 feet, a fish would just have to move up and down 3 inches or so, 5 inches or something, and to adjust for that pressure. So I don't believe that there's any evidence to indicate that the pressure causes, the barometric pressure itself actually causes anything to happen. But you can correlate to it. I mean, the other factors of weather, the clouds, the wind, the sky, all those things probably what really causes the change. And that changes the fish, the way the fish react.
The fishing and the weather changes on actually an hourly basis, and you got to make adjustments and changes, throughout all those time periods. Don't get intimidated by it, because you hear about, in the magazines, the pros talking about barometric pressure and this and that, and it's intimidating. It's even intimidating to me, and I've been doing it a long time, because I know that you don't really have to pay attention to the scientific aspect of barometric pressure. You can be a keen observer of nature and take those clues that nature has given to you, and what that does is the next time you're faced with that situation, you might be better prepared to handle it and adjust your techniques accordingly.
Yeah, we use it for a good excuse for not catching them after color.
Well, regardless of how you interpret the barometer, I think we can all agree it's important to all these fishermen. They all think about it. 5 fish now for Mark Harden, but we're still thinking about David Fritts and all that success you're having, David, with these suspended fish.
They're just swimming out here. It's really strange. You wind the bait, you don't hit any bottom, and boom, you catch a fish. And if you could ever get one to bite, I'm having trouble getting one bite right now, but it's just real strange fishing, which, I've caught fish a lot like this, suspended fish, but I can't really say honestly, besides smuck and silk, that's all that's on the bottom.
How deep are they when they hit you like that?
Well, they're coming up and hitting my bait most of the time, so I'm going to say no deeper than 10 foot. They may be 8 foot.
Oh, so and of course for down here in Florida, that's pretty deep. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's real deep for Florida. Sure is.
And maybe you're in a pretty good situation. Everybody's complaining about the cold fronts. Maybe them cold fronts are helping you a lot. It's kind of pushing all them fish in the hole you're fishing.
Well, absolutely. This is the low water conditions, and along with the cold front, and the cold front being the main thing, is what's helping me.
David, no one can put out of their mind the fact that you won 3 tournaments out here on the Walmart FLW Tour back in 1997. When you look at your entire career, all the places you fished, all the tournaments you fished, do you find that your wins sort of run in streaks, and then there's maybe some slow time in between, or is there just no way to predict when it's going to happen?
Well, Tommy, I really don't think there's a way to predict it. And it runs in cycles. Fishing runs in cycles. Worms are good one year, spinnerbaits are good one year, and structure fishing is good one year, then bank fishing, it's really strange. A lot of it has to do with the schedule and a lot of other things, and because I can catch fish on a lot of baits, but it's really hard to stay in tune, especially after you win 3 in 1 year.
Yeah, I can imagine. We'd like to start that streak again, though, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'd like to see that, too.
If I can
Thanks,
get me about
David.
2 more, I may do it.
All right, good luck.
All right, thanks.
Well, Tommy, Kevin Van Dam may be starting a streak of his own right here.
Tell you what, tightening up between him and David Fritts right now. We could have a whale of a
We've
weigh-in.
got a dogfight going on, don't
Sure.
we? Kevin, of course, is already culling fish, so this fish, if it's a little bit bigger than the last one he caught, will add to his weight. And you know what? It's got to be a lot of fun fishing up and down that drop-off there, knowing that your next fish might weigh 8 pounds. Boy, that's got to be pretty exciting, too. That one will cull some fish. That'll add to it. And you know what? We're still a little ways away from the weigh-in, but things are cooking back at the tent, and particularly out there in the fun zone.
Oh, man, they've got it up and going. Jerry, if you and I had been under the influence of this guy, we could dance today.
No kidding.
Really, this is JJ, and he gets the kids ready to go, ready to perform. Also new this year, the Alpo folks are along with us. We saw one of the pros, Tony Couch, there. They've got a great setup. You can adopt one of these dogs. They bring them in from area humane societies and shelters.
That's a fishing dog for you right there. Got plenty of patience. Come on. Sit. 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 Gotta sit. Good girl. Good girl.
Well, you know we're getting close to weigh-in time when you see our weighmaster. There he is, Charlie Evans, streaking toward the tent. But our competitors are using every last second of their time.
Big one, big one. Hey, boys. That's a big one. I got a good one. That's a good. Come switch. That's a big one. Oh, that's a big one. Yes. I thought he was bigger than he was, but still, that's a 5. Look how fast you can turn it around. One cast make all the difference in the world. We've been waiting on these things to bite all day. If I can catch me one more big one, I'll do my fish dance.
Well, I'd like to see that fish dance, but I guess I better get a seat and maybe better pick a winner.
I think David Fritts is going to win it with about 21.5 pounds.
I hope the Michigan guy wins from Kalamazoo. The Michigan guy wins.
Everybody needs to get a seat.
I've been here about an hour and a half. Early. Maybe more. Early.
Kim Stricker. Because we're originally from Michigan, and he's just such a nice guy that we've really enjoyed watching him fish. I want an FLW hat.
Better luck next time. A little disappointed. It was harder today, but we don't know how everybody else did either. But
We're cutting into the weigh-in towards the end, and although Williamson, Hardin, and Stricker, well, they had great weeks, but they fell a little bit short today. By the way, Stricker never caught that last fish, so we're not going to be seeing the fish dance today either. He and Hardin tied for 3rd place. So it's the Fritts and Van Dam show from here on out.
Some bass fisherman was sitting around trying to dream up his dream weigh-in. He would probably draw up a plan something like the one we have here. David Fritts weighed in 5 fish, the leader, 17 pounds even. Kevin Van Dam has weighed in 4 fish. He needs 4 pounds, 1 ounce in order to win the tournament. David, come on up here while Kevin reaches for what he's got. We're going to find out who our $100,000 champion is right now. You ready for this?
What?
Are you ready for this?
Not really.
I think everyone else is. All right. We are looking for 4-1. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. Didn't make it this time. 3 pounds, 2 ounces. There's your champion, David Fritts. Oh. They call him the greatest crankbait fisherman in America. Hasn't happened out here on the tour since 1997. You haven't been sitting around waiting for it to happen. You've been working hard, haven't you?
I sure have, and I tell you what, I needed this. You know, I really didn't think I had enough to win. I've been struggling. I caught those fish and had them before 8:30 this morning. And everywhere I went, I just couldn't get any bites, or I'd catch small fish. And I knew that when the wind stopped blowing, the water quit moving through the canal. So it was going to make fishing tough for everybody. And most of the time I can finesse those fish. And you know, I threw a lot of crankbaits, you know, from wiggle wars to all I tried everything. And I basically had a real old wooden bait that I threw that runs about 7 foot deep, and I was catching a lot of fish out over 20 foot of water, not touching anything. The fish would just hit your bait and you'd catch them. It was pretty amazing. But where I caught these fish at today, I knew the fish were there. Both the first 2 days of the tournament, I went by and there were 6 or 7 boats just out there everywhere. And I said, I'm not going to go out there and show them how to catch them. And I waited and I waited, and I hadn't been having a good early bite at all. And I stopped by there yesterday on the way back and caught 2 4-pounders. I said, I think I'll just go there this morning and see what happens. And it was absolutely the right move.
Thank you, Lord. Look at this fish. That's what you call smack, crackle, and I popped him.
Well, an enthusiastic David Fritts, and as always, Kevin Van Dam represented himself and the sport very well. What a week we had on Lake Okeechobee.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.